Where are you going, bro? You're, you're standing still, bro. What the Come on, you can do it. Yeah. Move, just a little bit, just a bit. Come on, yeah, you're almost there. No, bro.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't.
What the is even happening, bro? I don't know how I did this mess. I really don't know. Surely it works this time, right?
We all know making games is a tedious process where you carefully construct a world, write spaghetti code, and then watch an absolute horror as your character decides gravity is just a word and flies off into heaven. I recently sat down to make a PS1-style horror game, but I quickly ran into a wall that almost every indie game developer faces. Adding Mixamo animations into your engine without your character completely losing its mind. I just wanted my creepy entity to walk forward, that's it. So in this video, I'm going to show you the absolute nightmare of translating root motion from Mixamo to Godot, how to actually fix it, and why I completely abandoned the correct method because to be honest, it kinda sucks. Let's get into it. So what is the correct method to do it? Well, if you've ever used Mixamo, you know the drill. You find a cool animation, click download and drag it into your engine. But there's this little checkbox called in place. If you check this option, your character moonwalks on a treadmill. You then move them forward using code manually by applying custom velocity that suits the animation. It's easy, it's clean, but it can look incredibly floaty.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
If you leave this unchecked, the animation physically moves the character across the floor. I wanted that physical movement. It grounds the character, feels heavy and real, which is a crucial point for horror games. So I imported my translating animations into Godot, hit play, and this happened. The animation started looping back like it was in a time loop. Here's the issue. The animation pushes the mesh forward, but your physics body stays at 0. To fix this, you have to use something called root motion. By using this, you basically hijack the forward momentum of the mesh, keep the mesh centered, and apply the momentum manually in the code. Sounds pretty simple, right? Wrong. Setting up root motion in Godot 4 involves finding the animation player, assigning the root node, and setting the root track to your main bone, usually the hips in case of Mixamo. I did all that and wrote the code according to the documentation. I hit run and my character ascended into heaven. Why did this happen? Well, it's because of two classic Mixamo to Godot conflicts hitting at the same time. First, the 90-degree axis swap. Mixamo models often import with their armature pitched 90 degrees on the x-axis. So when Godot extracts the forward momentum, it's actually pulling from an axis that's pointing straight up. I wasn't coding a walk cycle, I was coding a trip to heaven. I fixed this by intercepting the vector in code and manually swapping the y and z axis. And boom, she stayed on the floor. So let's address the elephant in the room. Why is she moving like Flash? This brings us to conflict number 2, the centimeter scale issue. Mixamo exports in centimeters, Godot calculates in meters. Godot was reading the animation data and thinking that my character was taking large steps like 100 meters when it was really 100 centimeters. And as expected, it was an easy fix. You just have to multiply it by 0.01. And finally, I did it. The loop was flawless. The code was perfect. I had defeated Godot's root motion. I was a game development god. And I hated how it looked. So here's the issue. Getting root motion to work flawlessly killed the vibe of my game. You see, when Godot extracts root motion, it forces the base rotation of the root bone to be 0 so it can do clean math. But my hallucination entity had this incredibly creepy hunch, this weird offset baked into its hip bone. Since the root motion set the base node's rotation to be 0, the character looked unnaturally straight, almost floaty even, and it looked like dog shit. So I threw this method in the trash, banged my head a few times and started playing Valorant. Oh man, if I just moved before he shot me, I would have been alive. Wait, moved before? That's it! I had this amazing idea where I disabled the loop mode in the animation player, so you should check if the animation ended every frame and manually restart the animation. Why, you may ask? Here's the secret sauce. Right before you replay the animation, you move the root node to the hip bone's global position. So when the position of the hip bone resets, it starts right where you left off. Here's the simplified visualization of how this method works. To implement this, you have to get the root bone, usually the hips in case of Mixamo, and extract the exact global coordinates of the hip bone and manually drag the root node to match it. And finally, I did it. Drum rolls please. Because this method reads raw bone data, it catches that one frame reset where the bone snaps back before moving forward again. It causes a tiny visual stutter, a little frame pause at the end of every loop. For a modern AAA game, that is a massive bug, but for a PS1 horror game, it is a feature. It gives the entity an erratic, glitched out, unnatural twitch that fits the genre flawlessly. And since I'm making a low poly PS1 style horror game, this imperfection adds on to the atmosphere. The biggest lesson I learned here isn't how to fix root motion, though hopefully this video saves you a few hours of googling if you actually need to. The real lesson is that sometimes the wrong way to code something is right for your direction. Lean into the jank if it serves the atmosphere. If you enjoyed watching me slowly lose my mind, please consider subscribing and dropping a like. It really helps a lot. And also, the game I'm working on is called It Was There and the devlog is dropping soon. So stay tuned for more updates. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.